Introducing Nose to Tail, a podcast where we explore the world of aviation lifecycle solutions, insights, and more. Presented by Jet Midwest.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Nose to Tail podcast. I'm Patrick Kraus with Jet Midwest. I'm here with Carol, and we talk everything aviation. So, Carol, I like to start all of our podcast intros really allowing you to talk a little bit about your history, how you got into aviation, and maybe a little bit about the evolution of your career up till now.
Okay. Well, I basically grew up the show. So my parents are minority owners of Medcraft. In the 80s, my brother, my sister, me, we would just hang out there until our parents were done with work, which was usually pretty late, playing with office supplies, shipping containers, soldering stations. It was fun, but that's how I got started. When I finished college, my uncle, who was the majority owner of both Medair and Medcraft, he asked me to do a project for him. So I was only going to stay for a couple of months. He asked me to do a business analysis, and I ended up staying. I was the controller for 10 years. And then one Christmas, it was 2011, he tells me that he's going to sell Medcraft because it really doesn't make money. You know, I had been breaking even for a long time. It was a lot of work and he didn't see the benefit of it. And I told him, I said, well, give me an opportunity. Let me run it and see if I can make a difference. And he said, okay, I'll give you 2 years. And he gave me a significant raise. And all I'm thinking in my head is, okay, now I have to cover the losses and my raise. Like, what did I just get myself into? But I put together a great executive team and we made it happen. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. So
That's
I stayed.
awesome.
Yeah. It was a lot of learning because as a controller, I mean, I knew a lot of the numbers, but I didn't know any of the technical expertise of this repair station.
Did you have to then jump in and actually go sit with the techs and really start understanding the jobs and the billing and those things?
Yes, I relied a lot on our chief inspector and our business development guy. They were so great to me. They had been working for my dad since they were 18. And now they're like, okay, so now she's going to be our boss. I'm sure at the beginning it was a little rough, but
You can't possibly be my boss. You don't know anything. Yeah, I've heard that before.
yeah. The technical aspect is still what I would consider a weakness of mine, but we really got into the processes, the jobs, the clients, like all of these areas of our business and started analyzing it. We put together a great strategy, quickly learned that culture is everything. Strategy doesn't work if you don't get your culture together. So we went through a few changes there, and around 2022, my cycle was over. I had a great time, but I felt like it was time for me to move on. And I've spent the last 2 years consulting at different MRO shops. That's been a lot of fun too. And I am about a few weeks away from getting my own certificate now.
Well, congratulations. That
Thank
sounds
you.
like a lot more hard work getting ready to come your way.
Yeah, I'm very, very nervous, but I'm also excited and I'm super grateful. There's been a ton of people helping me, a lot of people that just said, just do it, just try. And I'm like, okay, well, let's try. Let's see how this goes.
I can certainly say from not too dissimilar growing up in a family that was entrepreneurs. My parents owned restaurants and retail, and I know we've talked a little bit about this in the past, but almost the same storyline. So as little kids, we would be in the restaurants, and me and my brother would be scraping gum off the bottom of the tables and cleaning ashtrays, and my sisters would be in the back doing a little bit of prep work because they were maybe more attentive to those types of things, and rambunctious boys are better with scrapers. And really, we grew up in that entrepreneurial spirit. And then when we all grew up and went into the world ourselves, we really just that desire to go out and take that risk and create something. It's just inside of you.
Mhm.
And I can definitely say that I can hear that in your story.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the shop that you're opening up. What are you guys going to be focusing on?
So we are opening up a hydraulic shop. Of course, we'll start off with one part number on our certificate, and then we'll quickly move into some actuation. Once we get our hands on hydraulics, we want to go into electromechanical and eventually pneumatic. So a component accessory shop.
I like it. And what's the name of your shop?
Total Component Services.
Total Component Services. Are you going to shorten it to TCS or
Yes.
is it going to stay? All right.
Yes.
All right. I
will.
picked up on that one pretty quickly. So that's awesome. So as you grow that company, what kind of expertise did you maybe lean on that you brought from other places in your career, whether that was through the consulting side where you're interfacing with other MROs or from your career growing up underneath your dad and your uncle's company?
I have banked a lot on the relationships I've built. I think that is really the key to this industry. Everyone's so interrelated, especially in Miami. I mean, there's so many shops here and vendors and clients, and we all kind of just help each other. There's a little bit of drama sometimes, but for the most part, we all just kind of help each other. So that has been something that has really pushed me forward to start this. I do have a partner. He was a technician with me for a long time and then a production manager. I have an engineering friend that's helping me. I have a lot of techs that are also wanting to help me, just putting something together like a group of us.
I know that when we started our
Mhm.
certificate, we had 2 people, and I think we were only qualified to change light bulbs. Like that was the extent of what we were opening a
Uh-huh.
paint shop, and so we could paint an airplane and we could change light bulbs, and that was about it for our authorization. And now we've got this journey. They've created a aircraft services team and engine preservations and storage, along with component shop where we're doing thrust reversers and nacelles and a lot of these other large components. In fact, we've had to expand our shop footprint because we went from really 7.5, 7.6, 747 centric to 777 in the last couple of years.
A
And
little
all
bit
those
of a
pieces
space
are just,
difference.
they're just bigger. Everything we literally, some of it doesn't fit
Mhm.
through the door.
Mhm.
Like you got to find a way to get it inside or into the paint booth.
Mhm.
So it's been an interesting growth journey for us. So I'm excited for you guys to have that. And it's great to have some folks you can rely on. You mentioned culture earlier, bringing people in that you already know and trust that will adhere to the culture that you've championed previously. That's huge. Culture really does make a huge difference inside of a company and keeping things open. I use trust pretty explicitly because if you can't trust that they're going to be doing the things when and where and how they're supposed to, then it's awful hard, especially when you don't have very many people. If you start with 7 or 8 total people, everybody's doing 10, 11, 12% of all the work.
Mhm.
And if one person only accomplishes half of that, that deficit's got to be made up somewhere. And so being able to trust people that they're doing the right things and that they hold each other accountable to that type of work ethic and the right kinds of behaviors, I think it is huge. So I applaud the idea that sounds like you're starting with a culture first concept because you're bringing people in who
Mhm.
already know you and that expectation. So obviously you went into a very specific arena in the MRO world. Did you pick that because you guys are perceiving that there's a shortage either in the service side of that? Sort of like, are you going to win with lead time? Are you guys going to win with price? Help me understand why you guys picked the direction that you went in terms of product line.
I focus more on lead time. I am very big on lean processes. I did do an MBA. It was based in aviation and it had a lot of lean work into it. I love it. I love setting up processes, systems, checking out our workflows, seeing where our bottlenecks are. And I do believe that we can put together a great quality product with excellent turn times. So that's what we are going for. We want to start off specifically in hydraulics because it is our forte. And also, we don't want to take on too much at one time because we want to make sure, again, we put out a quality on time product. So as we go, we will build, but we want to start very specific and very focused so that we can give our clients what we promise.
I can certainly say that we struggle with some of our vendors for our MRO. So we send items out to be
Mhm.
repaired, and some of those items we've been really challenged with turn times, which is a cascading
Mhm.
event. Sure. So if I have a valve for my thrust reverser that I'm overhauling that we need to send out to, say, Parker, and that takes Parker 45 days, my whole TR doesn't take 45 days to overhaul, and that one component does. We have to wait for that to come back. And I certainly have noticed that there's been some challenging lead times that have impacted our deliveries, especially as we get end of the month. We're trying to rush items and get them out to hit some sales targets, and we struggle sometimes with some of those vendors. So certainly lead time is a big one. And price is important as well, but certainly I can live with great lead time and slightly above average pricing. Too much above average, I probably would grimace at, but I certainly would say we've paid a little bit extra to have stuff done more efficiently. One of the early challenges for any MRO like yours is working through some approval processes with some of the major operators right? So as they have their approved vendor lists. Have you guys thought about how you're going to approach those? Are you guys going to go through a case audit, or is there any steps you've already started with some of your existing clients in your career that you're able to go out and expedite that process? Because I know that can be a challenge when choosing vendors.
So right now, I have been dealing with the FAA, which has been a very long struggle. So I feel like the operators is going to be cake compared to this. Uh, but no, we do plan on quickly after FAA, we'll have EASA, we'll have the CA, the British one, and then we'll most likely go after case, because that's what we have seen in my career that is kind of encompasses a lot of different operators.
A lot of the 121 operators, if you have passed a case audit with one airline, that they'll take that case audit and they'll review it, and it makes that process just a little bit more efficient. So I would certainly encourage you guys to put that on the forefront of your to-do list. We're lucky enough in aviation to travel to a lot of different places. Tell me something about maybe somewhere you've been that you just absolutely love and would go back to.
I really like to go almost anywhere. When I started traveling for all the conferences, I always took a few days before or a few days after to explore wherever I was going. And besides China, I had a great time at mostly everywhere. In China, I got sick. It wasn't fun. But the most epic place I've been, it's probably been, we decided, a group of us, to go to Machu Picchu. And my husband decided that just going to Machu Picchu wasn't good enough. Like, we had to do the whole Inca Trail. So we did 4 days traveling in the mountains, climbing up and down. And that was very difficult, but it was memorable. I'm glad I did it. I won't do it again, but I'm glad we did it.
My wife has been bothering me for years to go to Machu Picchu with her. So this is just one more thing weighing the scale on her side that I probably should go. I might skip the 4 days hiking through the mountains and just take your word for it that it was epic, and just go see Machu Picchu itself.
Yeah, it was worth it.
So go through that process. Maybe for the people who don't know, what is the process to add an item? So if I send you a thrust reverser actuator, what's the process for your team to go through? What are those 2 or 3 steps you have to go through with the FAA to get that put on your certificate?
Okay, well, first we have to do our research in-house. We have to make sure we have the testing capabilities. That would be the first thing that we would do. Once we know that our test stand can handle that, we would start to do equivalencies for all the tools and fixtures that are listed on the CMM. We have to make sure we have access to the CMM. And to any current revisions, we have to make sure we have all the consumables that we need, that we can get all of the parts that need to be changed. Once that whole package is done, then we call the FAA in, and they will actually go through the process of pre-testing, disassembling, assembling, and testing the unit to make sure that we have absolutely everything that we need as per the CMM to be able to return the unit to service.
Nice. So a couple items there. So one of them, obviously, with testing and even some tooling, is that something that you guys can fabricate some of that in-house?
Well, no, not right now, but there are machine shops. We would do the drawings. We would sign an equivalency document, and then we would send it out to a machine shop to make it and bring it back.
That's probably a local service that's pretty on demand there in Miami.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's awesome, being able to make those piece part tools to, especially for your fixtures, I can see that where that would be outstanding. Well, to have that done down the street, so you can expand capabilities. And then the other one was tech data. I know CMMs can be pretty pricey. I know I pay quite a bit per year for the access to some of the CMM tech data that we have, but we get pretty lucky as well because we do buy complete aircraft. So SRMs and AMM technical data is pretty readily available for those when we're buying and selling airplanes. We typically get that data. When you do the CMMs, are those customer furnished sometimes versus purchasing those? Sometimes,
but there is companies that will sell them to you. There are actually a few OEMs that are now very limited. They're not out on the market yet. So that makes it a little bit more difficult. But yes, we can get it from a customer or we can get it from the market.
So as you go to add those and grow your capabilities, and when you go from from hydraulics to electromechanical, is it a different process, or is it really just, no, we just have to expand more equipment and that's really the driver there?
Yes, it's the equipment that we would have to purchase. Like, for example, pneumatics, obviously we would need tanks, dryers, workbenches. It's just more stuff.
More upfront expenses to be put in to eat away at your potential profits. I get that.
We'll continue this discussion on the next episode of Nose to Tail, a podcast presented by Jet Midwest. Don't forget to please like and subscribe to our channel.